Okay, so next up, wire it all up. Easier said than done, past self. Okay, so then in the context, now that we've got some state implementations to work with, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, and it's getting super dark here. Let me turn on the light. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So, now we've got some implementation to work with. We can do a very simple selection slash algorithm slash whatever have you. And we're going to just say if the current time is less than the start time, then the state is equal to available states, which is pulling from our new data, available states dot upcoming. So this allows us, this kind of approach, this creating these static options, allows us to use an object almost like an enum, almost like a strongly typed enumerator. So kind of the best of both worlds. For our needs and for our purposes, it allows us to keep our katas a little closer to the real world, while at the same time not having to rely on having a database or writing to the file system or complicating what we're trying to do. We can still keep it very small and very light. So if time is, what's the next one? Started? Is greater than start time and less than end time and time. Alright, so you've probably seen this before in some basic algebra, but we're saying, hey, if our time is past the start time, but it hasn't yet passed the end time, let's go ahead and say available states is equal to started. Oops. States is equal, hey there, state is equal to available states dot started. Dogman says, "What's up, mate? What's up, Dogman?" All right, and so then finally, we've got if time is greater than end time, then state is equal to available states dot ended. Okay, so we've taken the control of the states away from the calling layer, and we've said we'll decide. We'll decide based off of the time what the current state is. So then inside of my constructor, I'm going to go ahead and say set state based off of date time dot now. Mikkel says hello. Hello, Mikkel. Alright, so just to recap a little bit, we've got our context, our wrapper class. We're going to inherit from the detail, so a context is a type of event detail. We're going to have a constructor that takes the name and description, and a start time and an end time. We're going to set those four properties, and then we've encapsulated state, and we've written an algorithm to take in the current time or any time and see how that changes the state. And then inside of our constructor, we're setting the state based off of the current time. So not a whole lot going on. And even over here we've got just 4 classes. But the power of this and being able to wire this up, if we're over here, and as usual we say that, let's call this event picker. If we say that var social event is equal to new social event context, we're going to be asked for the name, and let's just say that it is a dance party. Everybody party. The description is a fun time in the sun this Saturday. Right? Let's go ahead and break this up a little bit so it gets easier to read. Nicole asks, what are we doing? Alright, so we are doing a code kata for the state pattern. And we've gotten through most of the heavy lifting, and now we are wiring it up. And once we wire it up, I'll do another summary of how far we've gotten and what we've done. So, just to keep things a little abstracted, I'm going to do a var start time up here is equal to a new date time. And if you'll see, the options I have under date time are year, month, day, hour, minute, second. So I'm going to take advantage of all those. I'm going to say for the year is 2015, if I can, and the month is 5, and the day is 5. The start time for this, I want it to be, I'm on the East Coast here, so it's 1923. I want to say it starts in an hour. So at 20:23 and 0 seconds. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for end time. A new person in chat, I'm going to mess up the name horribly. Is Chiti? I don't know. I don't. You gotta tell me. You gotta spell it out very slowly for me. So for the next one, 2015 as well, 5, 5, and we'll say that it ends at 11. So, I'm sorry. Oops. Yeah, so 3 hours after it starts. 23 and 0 seconds. Okay. So then, Ashkatite. That's the person in chat. Ashkatite. I say this almost every time. My full name is Orenze Chukwu, and so I have such an appreciation for the struggle of pronunciation, and I'm also very, very bad at it, so it's kind of like the universe, I guess, rubbing in my face. Alright, so, and then end time. So we use the constructor, and now we've got a new social event. And the social event is going to have a name, a description, a start time, and an end time. Inside of the context, we also set the state. So, based off the time now, it should have a state. Well, let's hope it does. So let's go ahead and console.writeLine. And then we'll do a 0 and has the state of 1. Social event dot, not description, we'll just do name, has the state of social event dot state dot name. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, and then we'll do a quick walkthrough of what we've done and why it works. And then we'll try to throw a wrench in the whole thing and see what happens. Alright, so dance party has the state upcoming. That's fair because it hasn't hit that time yet. So what happens then if we then say a social event dot set state new date time 2015 5/5 20.25.0. Alright, so we've said that the event starts at 8:23. We ran the app, gave it the current time, and it's like, hey, it hasn't started yet, it's upcoming, sorry. Well, and then we say set the state, which is pretending that it's gone ahead in the future an hour, and now, or not an hour, yeah, so an hour and 2 minutes. So now it's 8:25, and then we'll want to see what the state says. Alright, so then when I click the next line, it says the state is upcoming, I changed the time, and now it says started. Alright. Okay, so what did we do? We took a state pattern, so we had this thing, we had this event, and we wanted to be able to set the state and have it drive some behavior. So we created our model, being our event detail. We created our possible states. We populated those three options. We then created an algorithm called setState that would take in the date time and then calculate the state for us. So this is a super basic example of a state pattern, but it allows you to start to see how you can use this pattern to drive behavior in a very abstracted way. Let's see, wire it all up. Okay. And then as a bonus, I had add an enum for the states to use a state step method in the context of states. We could, I like the way we did it better though, so I'm going to leave the bonus out. But, yeah, it wouldn't really do much. Alright, so I think we got the idea. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop open our MUD-Z game, which is the fun stuff. Take a look at what we did last time, and where we might be able to introduce the state pattern. Ashkutite says, "What is Trello?" So it's a little web app that lets you create lists of things. It's got some advanced features for managing teams and such. I just use it as a easy way to manage my katas, and when time allows, I'll be doing things like adding this link to each GitHub repository so people can have all the data in one place. But it's free and it's nice and it kind of presents well, so I like it. Trello. Okay, it's been a week, and I think we can all use a refresher for where the game left off. So we're making this zombie survival text-based, turn-based game. And we're using all the strategies and techniques that we've learned so far from our katas. So if you were to go all the way back in time to the first week and follow it through, you'd see us first learning the factory pattern, applying it to the game,